there, welcome back to my channel, Uniquely Rigged and Handcrafted Cards. I'm going to be making my Craft Roulette submission for episode number 305. And I'm going to make a Joyfold card because that's our project parameter. We need to use element that starts with I. So I'm going to make a card that has ice fishing, and I'm going to use this stamp set from Not2Shabby, and it's called Meg's Gnomes Summer Splash. So I'm going to use the little gnome, the little fishing dude that's a gnome. And I had already stamped it out and had it inside, but I had only colored up the two little mermaids, but not the fishing guy. So I need to color that. And our next parameter is cartoon colors. So I pulled out some colors of Spectrum Noir markers that kind of go with Scooby-Doo colors because our next parameter, I'm just pulling from all the parameters today just to blend in with my things that I'm pulling in from my stash here. Our next parameter were cartoon colors, and then we had include a scrap for random. And these two pieces of paper here, these are from the card die from Stamps of Life for my project piece for Joyfold card, which this is kind of a Joyfold card because it is a Joyfold card. Any kind of fun fold Joyfold card. So that's what that is. So our random element was include a scrap. These two pieces of paper are from scrap paper of that I have for 12 by 12 project bin called Masculine, and I have a bunch of scraps in here, and I had pulled these two pieces of paper out of it, and I think they lend themselves well to a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Scooby, the dog in the cartoon, he has a lot of browns, and this kind of flesh color is kind of from his ear. There's some teals and that kind of thing in his collar. Green, there's certainly a lot of green in there. And then these other colors are a lot of things that are in the cartoon. So there's a lot of dark green, light green, a lot of grays. There's other flesh colors. There's some red, and I've got a couple different colors of blue here, and there's an orange here. So yeah, a lot of different colors of muted colors, but from the primary color family. So I'm going to use some of those markers. I'm going to use this scrap. I've got a Joyfold Fun Fold card here, and then I have a stamp set, but included with my ice fishing theme, I need to create, kind of flesh that out here. I've got a stamp set from Stampin Up that will give us a background here, kind of a mountain theme. And then I have a stamp set from Diamond Press called The Guys, which I had got off HSN. And the stamp set for Meg's Gnomes, it includes a fish up here off his hat, but it doesn't include a fishing pole. So I'm going to use the fishing pole from this Diamond Press stamp set called The Guys. I don't need the fish, actually, because there's a fish here. And then there's an extra fish at the bottom of this stamp set here that can be popping out of the lake hole where he's fishing out of, but I do want to get this fishing pole. Even though it's oversized for our gnome, it can kind of be cartoonish because that folds back into our theme here. So that's what I'm going to be using. I do need to get this colored up. I have to get the fishing pole stamped and colored. I've got to do a little die cutting. I've got a lot of work here to do, so let me get started. For some of this, I'll probably put you on fast forward, especially for the coloring, because that will take a little bit of time, even though this image is small and easy to color. I'll have a little bit of color blending here. I do have a small decal edge circle from a Stampin' Up decal edge layering. It's got quite a few layering pieces with it in that decal edge. But I thought this could work great for our fishing hole in our ice fishing theme here. So that I'm going to use here. I've already got the card base cut out of the Double Z card die here. And what you do here is you fold that in half for the card base and then fold it back on itself. And that's one Z. And then I cut it again out of some blue textured paper to make the second of the double Z's. I'm going to glue that together. And then one of these the scrap pieces of paper is going to be the layering piece over the top of that. But I am going to have to cut the circle, the decal edge circle out of this here to get the hole cut out of that. So I'm going to get on that, and so I'll be back with you in just a moment. little fish cut out to go with our little fishing pole. I'm going to cut this little fish off the pole and I'll save it for something else here. There we go. And I'll catch one of these fish on the pole. So I'll just hook that one like right there on the pole. So I think that'll work. And let me get this scene put together here. Let me see what I can do here. So I'm going to just push some of these things aside. I'm going to put this back into that, that diamond press package and just save that for later. So let me see what I can do. I think I'm going to add something to the bottom of this to make it look like a continuation of the water here. Let me get something for that. I found something to help me work in that pattern, the water theme. I'm going to put some, use this stencil from Stamps of Life, large circle stencil, and I'm going to stencil some of the large circles in with this sky color. I'm going to lift this up with a palette knife where I've already glued it down. I should have been not so quick to glue here. So once I get this back down, no one will ever know. So I'm just going to slice into that with the palette knife. And then no one will know except you and me. So I'm going to just turn that back over here and then just get a piece of scrap paper. Let me get a piece of scrap paper. So I want to add a second panel to this card here, but just so I have a little bit of room to have some writing space. But before I do that, I want to put some foam tape behind the fish here so he's attached to something. Let me get my foam tape back out and cut a little square off of here. I might have to double this up here, so let me cut this in half. And this is quite an epic card. I might need to save this for a Father's Day card or something. Okay, now I'm also going to glue that corner to the gnome hat here, just so it's got a little second point of attachment. There. Probably weight that down or something after I'm done here. Okay. I was thinking about putting a panel on the back here, so I had measured this piece. I scored it at 1/2 inch to make a flap on the back. But when I started to think about it and test it out and try to figure out, well, how would this stand up? How would I attach it? How's that going to look on the back? How am I going to keep it from flapping open? Will I put a buckle or a magnet or a Velcro dot or something to just keep it closed? Then I decided, well, how about putting a top opening flap? And then I cut the piece down to 3.5 by 4 inches, and then I went ahead and adhered it, and then I'm back to the same position. Am I going to put a Velcro dot or a magnet or some sort of closure on it to keep it closed? But I'm back to the same problem. I really just need a place for someone to sign the card, and I really don't need to go to all this effort. But now the piece is adhered down, so I think I'm just looking now for a scrap of paper. And I'm going to a lot of effort here, but I just need to remind myself that I just need one scrap of paper. I don't need to cover the whole panel. And I don't need to go to a lot of effort here. I just need to get a scrap of paper and make a little scene on the back of the card. And that is what I ultimately end up doing. I'm not going to cover the whole thing. I'm not going to create an elaborate scene because that's what was already on the front of the card. I just want a place that someone could actually just write a message and sign the card. So I just grab a scrap of paper to meet that parameter for Craft Roulette episode number 305, and then I'll keep it simple, and then I'll be finished with this card. Let me cut this piece down to 4.25 inches, and then I'll be able to just cut a couple of pieces of scraps of paper just so that I can don't have any dips at the edges there, because I do have this piece is smaller because I did layer it against the back of the card. I'm adhering it down because I don't want it flapping open. I am just going to layer it against the card and go ahead and adhere this down. Okay. That's a wild card. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. I've made the biggest mess here. The biggest mess. Okay. I need to find a sentiment. Let me find a sentiment. Hang on one second. Oh, look what I got. Look what I got. I got it. Let me get... my tray of goodness up here has come in handy once again. It always does. We have finished our card for Craft Roulette episode number 305. We have a fun fold with, I don't even know, this is crazy. It's a fun fold, it's a Z fold, it's got this flap on the back that I added so they would have a place to write. I thought it was going to be actually a flap, I glued it down. That's a Z fold, fun fold, Joyfold card. It has an element that starts with ice because our little gnome friend, he's ice fishing here. I used this decal circle to cut that circle through the blue paper. It's kind of a blue wood grain paper, so he's ice fishing through there, and that's really fun. The colors are cartoon colors, and I based my theme on Scooby-Doo. And so there's a lot of green and brown and muted colors here. So that's what I based my theme on. And then the random was include a scrap. I use scraps all over the place because my pattern papers here and this wood grain paper are scraps. This pattern was a scrap. Basically, all of the colored images that I used to die cut things with were all scraps. And I got this sentiment out of my sentiment drawer. So it's full of scraps. So I think I met all of those parameters for Craft Roulette episode number 305. It was a really fun card to put together. I didn't really know I was going to create all of this when I got started. I added this stenciling down at the bottom to create the ongoing of the lake here. I've got some mountains going on here in the background. You can barely see them behind our gnome fishing. His fishing pole with the fish is kind of getting a little out of hand. That fish might get away from him. I'm not quite sure, but that's going to be a really fun Father's Day card. What do you think? I had a fun time putting this together. So I hope that you come back and see me the next time I have a crafty card to put together and a crafty video. I'm going to put a link here at the end of this video that for another one that you may not have seen yet, and then come back and see me the next time I have something else going on that's crafty, and then we'll see you around the channels. All right, see you again. Thanks for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and if you would hit that like and subscribe button down there, leave me a comment and tell me what you liked about this card. I would appreciate it so much. And I just used practically everything in my stash today, it feels like. So, all right, enough of that. You've heard enough from me today. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you the next time I have a crafty video. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.